Welcome back to another episode of You Know What It Is, the Optimized for Impact podcast. My name is Joseph. Thank you so very much for tuning into today's episode. This is an episode that I have wanted to record for months now. This has been something that has been on my heart, in my mind. It's a concept that I have slowly developed, almost like chiseled away at for the last 5 to 6 years, really, competing in CrossFit, trying different diets, going to dietetic school, earning my bachelor's, earning a nutrition coaching certification. This has been basically like I took a tree stump and have slowly, over these 6 years, carved away pieces one at a time to get to today's topic, which really is at the heart of what I believe is one of the best one part philosophy, one part system approach, like the best approach, the best system, if you will, to getting health results that actually last. Okay, I strongly believe that one of the greatest problems that many of us face in Western society today is not getting health results, whether that's losing weight, whether it's regaining energy and just feeling awesome, right? Kicking the fatigue, the brain fog, the constant irritation, grumpiness, just blah, and getting back some of that energy and vitality and just feelings of goodness and waking up with a smile on your face type of thing, right? To all the way to performing at your best, whether that's as an entrepreneur like I am in my day-to-day tasks, having the creativity to focus, whether it's as an athlete, lifting weight, running, climbing mountains, whatever your thing is, right? Whatever your health goals are, I believe the greatest problem that many of us face are not necessarily getting results. There's a million and one diets and methods out there that get you results. The problem with many of them, the majority of them though, is that they are not created for sustainability. They're too complex. They're too restrictive. They are not necessarily designed, or they're very, very difficult to maintain for the long term, right? To actually use for the rest of your life. So my approach is this, and what I've seen now over years and years of study, case studies, application, is that simple is always best. There are a couple things that you can do, and what I recommend is throw out most of the dietary advice out there when it comes to actual diets, like keto, carnivore, like specific things. And it really comes down to how can you make your daily lifestyle health behaviors as simple as possible and as enjoyable as possible. Find things you enjoy, you actually enjoy. That's something you can do. A lot of diets are like, oh, I'm going to get the result, but I have to give up carbs for the rest of my life. And that sucks. Nobody wants to give up carbs for the rest of their life. Carbs are freaking awesome. I love carbs and they're awesome for you. Okay. So do things you enjoy that are very, very simple, that don't require tons of time and energy and effort and momentum to do them. Like taking a 10-minute walk versus running 10 miles, right? The 10-minute walk is so much easier to do. It's so simple. And it's finding a collection of these things that you enjoy, are simple to do, they drive results, and then just creating a lifestyle around those simple things. And then here's the thing, time. Let time play its factor. A lot of times we all want the shortcut. We want the fast result. We want it now. Totally natural, totally normal. But many times, especially when it comes to health, when it comes to things like building health, building wealth, creating impact, time is just an inevitable part of it, right? So it's finding stuff that are simple, finding stuff that are enjoyable, and then optimizing for the long term. Being willing to go the distance, to rely on time to play its role. And I believe those factors, this approach, this one part philosophy, this one part strategy I'm going to share with you today is really the best way to not only get amazing results, get the health results, the fitness results, the wellness results that you want, but then actually keep them for the long term. Allow them to benefit you for the rest of your life instead of just 90 days or 6 months or maybe a year, however long you can white knuckle that diet. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So by the end of this episode today, sorry, I went a little on my high horse there, but I'm so passionate about this. This is why I started this podcast, is to spread this idea we're going to talk about today. So by the end of this episode, I want you to walk away with a framework, a simple framework for making lifestyle changes or behavior changes that actually last, that are permanent, so that you can build incredible health, wellness, and vitality, make it last so you can get out there and fully pursue your purpose, maximize your impact, and live a deeply fulfilling, meaningful life. That's the mission. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So this framework, what does this solve? We talked a little about it. Ultimately, the issue is consistency, frequency, lifestyle. Most approaches out there are just not created to allow you to be successful for the long term. It's very, very difficult to stick to a no-carb diet for the rest of your life, right? No beer, no wine, no ice cream, no bread again, no cake at birthday parties. Think of all the things you begin to miss. You're going to often start something like this, start out strong, be like, okay, no carbs, gonna lose these 10 pounds. And then you start out great, and then you begin to miss. You go to that birthday party, and you're like, we're here celebrating like a cake, it's homemade, it's got cream cheese frosting, oh my gosh, just a little bit, right? But then you messed up. You failed your diet, this arbitrary set of rules you were following. And that begins to make you feel discouraged. You let yourself down, right? Like, oh, I was doing this diet, I did that, I was bad. You start feeling guilt, you start feeling maybe some shame, you lose momentum, and ultimately you stop doing the diet or you stop doing the actions that you want to do because you missed behaviors. And when you can't ever make something stick, something last, and you can't stay consistent, you will just prolong the amount of time that you're going to live your life without getting the results that you deeply desire, without ever being able to enjoy the health, wellness, and fitness that you want, that you're originally going, because you're constantly in this on again, off again, start and stop cycle. And ultimately, while prolonging not being able to get the results you want is unfortunate and sad and very disappointing, I think ultimately what is most sad to me, and I think maybe you would agree with this, is at the end of the day, often, if you remain stuck in this cycle of poor health, if you can't ever quite break out of the lower level of maybe health, wellness, energy that you feel, then that could limit you from really living a life to your fullest, of truly experiencing everything the life has to offer. Because if you don't feel good, if you're constantly sick, if it's hard to move, it's hard to get out and see the world and experience the world and engage with the world, then it can potentially limit you from your health. Your poor health can limit you from really experiencing life to the fullest. I don't want that for you, and I don't think you want that either. So that's the problem that we're going to talk about today, with a simple framework I believe is the answer to solving that. Quickly hydrate. All right. So what is the solution? What is this framework? I call it stacking small wins. Stacking small wins, or building small wins, tiny wins, as some people call them. Because here's the thing. Small wins build momentum and create massive results. Okay, I want to say that once more. Remember this. If you take nothing else from this episode, remember this thing. Small wins. So getting small wins in your day create momentum. Wins create momentum. And momentum, once you get momentum going, it's almost impossible to stop. Think like a train. Once a train gets up to speed, it is almost impossible to stop that train quickly. And that's what momentum is. So see, small wins build momentum, and that momentum leads you, propels you to massive life-changing results. So it's this small wins ideology, which I believe is the best approach all of us, especially in the West, can take toward our health and wellness. And so what is this approach about? The small wins approach is about identifying and designing simple behaviors into your day-to-day, into your lifestyle, that create the results you want. So these are simple behaviors that actually get results, whether it's fat loss, whether it's wanting to regain some energy, whether it's wanting to feel better, think more clearly, whatever your goal is. They're things that drive results. They're things that are simple, things you can do most days. They're things you want to do. And they're things you build into your life one at a time. Okay, and so this approach, this small wins approach of identifying these specific, simple behaviors or habits that you want to build into your day that create momentum to drive results that last, this allows you to actually design a lifestyle that will nearly automatically create and then maintain the results you want. So you can really fully win and thrive in the long term. Because here's the truth. These small wins, these are a lifestyle approach. These are things that you do every day. They're simple. They become part of who you are. And when you create a lifestyle based on these small little health wins, maybe it's like taking a 5-minute walk. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water when you wake up in the morning. These very simple behaviors, but as they begin to stack, right? As you begin to do these small wins throughout your day, all these things begin to create this lifestyle, this healthy lifestyle that creates a lot of momentum toward designing or toward delivering a completely different result than what you're currently maybe getting. And when you have a lifestyle, when these are things that you just naturally do, like there's no effort. It's not like, oh, I got to start this diet. And it's this like external thing. But when it's just like, oh no, that's just what I do. I just wake up and I drink a glass of water. I after breakfast go for a 5-minute walk before I take the kids to school. Like when it's just what you do, those almost automate now. They're just like something you do subconsciously, and these automate better health. These are things that just now naturally will give you a better result. And that's just because it's part of your lifestyle. It's just what you do. So there are 3 reasons why this small wins approach is so powerful. Why intentionally designing a lifestyle of simple little behaviors, nothing crazy unless you want it to be. But again, I argue, always optimize for simple. And I want to give you 3 reasons that over the years, research has proven these are why this approach ultimately is so powerful and is so life-changing. Then I want to give you the one reason, well, I'll give it to you right now, why so many people don't do this. Why, even though this is so powerful and most everyone agrees that this is the best way to get results, the number one reason why people don't do this is it takes time. You are committing to the long term. So going back to my original statement of small wins, build momentum, and create massive results. The element in there is time. And a lot of time, many of us, we don't see the outcome that we want fast enough. And so we stop doing the things. And it's that gap between actions, almost a delay between when you take the action and when you ultimately begin to see the result. That is why so many people get discouraged and stop following this type of system, this type of methodology, even though hands down, everyone agrees it is the most powerful for creating not only the highest levels of health, world-class health and performance, right? We're talking from Olympians to guys like me, your average entrepreneur. It's the system that like creates the best results, the highest performance, and actually maintains it for the long term. And yet it takes time, and time is the kicker, right? But here are the 3 reasons why it's so powerful. I want to introduce you to some ideas because sometimes it helps to know if you are going to begin to design a few simple health promoting behaviors or habits into your day. It helps to have an idea of like why this works in your mind, just so you know, like, okay, there is a purpose to this. There is actual research behind this, and I'm not just doing this because Joe told me to. We don't want to do that. We never want to do something just because Joe told you to. So here's the first one. 3 reasons why the small wins approach is so powerful. The first one is neurological momentum. So winning feels good. So we talked about small wins, and small wins are doing a behavior, a small behavior that you picked out, whether that's something like drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning because you wake up dehydrated. That's a small win for your health. That is a hydration habit. And so that small win feels good. You're like, boom, I just rehydrated. I'm starting rehydration for the day. This is going to increase my clarity. This is going to increase my cognitive performance. It's going to actually make me feel better, less tired. This is going to reduce my cravings for sugary snacks and sweets. This is going to allow me to eat less because there's more volume in my stomach. All these incredible benefits from just drinking a glass of water when you wake up in the morning. That's a win. And winning feels good, doesn't it? It feels good when you're like, heck yeah, I just like got all these benefits from this 10-second action of drinking a glass of water and wake up in the morning. And what happens when we feel good, when we have that like yes feeling from winning, neurotransmitters release in the brain. So these are feel-good transmitters, things like dopamine, serotonin, etc. And these feel-good neurotransmitters are actually the things that drive nearly all behavior. We are creatures that love rewards, and these neurotransmitters are commonly the rewards for doing behavior. Now, BJ Fogg, he is a behavior scientist, I believe at Stanford. He wrote the book called Tiny Wins, which I highly recommend. I'll link it in the show notes. And he found that the most powerful stimulus for creating behaviors and habits in life was actually not repetition, like most people think, right? Like just do it 10,000 times. But he said repetition is important. He said, but the most powerful thing actually was a positive emotion, feeling good when people did this behavior. And he found that people could create an entirely new habit in as short as a few days, just as long as there was a strong positive emotion connected to that behavior, right? And so that was those like feel-good neurotransmitters released when you did that behavior, such as drinking a glass of water. And so here's what he discovered was that one of the most important things you can do with this small wins methodology is actually celebrate your wins. So here's what he found. He would have people, and I teach this as well, that when you do your behavior, so again, we're going to use drinking a glass of water in the morning. When you do that behavior, you actually want to identify how you're going to celebrate when you do that behavior, because the celebration releases those feel-good neurotransmitters, and that is what begins to wire that behavior into your brain at an actual physical level. Like it's creating new pathways, and it's creating this reward mechanism where every time you do that behavior in the future, your brain will release some of those reward neurotransmitters that we crave. So you actually begin to naturally crave doing the healthy behavior. You can do this with anything, even things like exercise or eating vegetables, right? The trick, and it's not really even a trick, it's a strategy here, is choosing to do something as soon as you do the behavior that you want to do. So drink a glass of water in the morning, do a mini celebration that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like a winner. So it can be anything from like clapping your hands or like pumping your fist in the air, going like, yes, or even just smiling and nodding and just thinking to yourself like, boom, that's a win for the day. Anything that makes you feel good releases those transmitters and neurologically, mentally, begins to wire that habit into your brain as one that you will do in the future because it feels good. Okay? So, point number 1 with this small wins approach is by harnessing the power of positive emotions, feeling good, feeling like you're building these wins, you actually begin to neurologically wire the habit into your brain, into your lifestyle. It's just something that you naturally do. Now, the second point for why the small wins approach is so powerful is small wins give us evidence for which we can look at and prove to ourselves that we are successful, we are making progress, we are creating change, and that we are the type of person who values our health, the type of person who values a leaner body, the type of person who values being the best that they can be each and every day. Now, this is getting at, so this evidence we're talking about is getting at the difference between identity change, identity-based change, and outcome-based change. So in his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear, and again, we'll link the book in the show notes, highly recommend you read that one as well. James Clear talked about the difference between identity-based change and outcome-based change. And here's the key difference. Identity-based change is when you approach something as from the stance of this is who I am, such as I'm the type of person who is this. And that, for example, would be I'm the type of person who is a regular exerciser, who is healthy, who does drink a glass of water every morning in the day. Versus outcome-based change, which the key difference is I'm the type of person who wants this, who wants to be healthy, who wants to exercise every day, who wants to drink a glass of water every morning. The difference is very small, but it's crucial, right? When you view yourself as the type of person who is a person who values their health and takes action versus the type of person who wants to value their health and take action, that difference is so powerful. From the identity, it's who you are, is now just this is who I am. And when that's part of your identity, you are much more likely to actually take actions in alignment with that identity. Because that's what we do as people, who we believe we are, who we see ourselves as, is typically how we take action. We act in alignment with the identity with which we view ourselves. Not necessarily who we are in that moment, but who we view ourselves as, right? Because if you think about this, every time you start something new, I'm going to use entrepreneurship as an example. For the last decade, I had W-2 jobs. Now I am branching out as an entrepreneur, as a consultant. And in order to be able to do that, I had to now view myself as a different person. My identity shifted from being an employee to an entrepreneur. Now, I'd never been an entrepreneur before, right? And so I had to actually begin to see myself as an entrepreneur before I really was one, right? So this is that identity versus like outcome. So for years, I've been like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to take actions like an entrepreneur. But it wasn't until the moment where like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm doing this. When I adopted that identity, all of a sudden, I began to take actions in alignment with believing I am an entrepreneur. And here we are, right? And so this identity versus outcome-based change is very important. And what small wins do is they allow us to begin to have things to point to prove that we are people who value our health. Now, there was a point where, as a young teen, I was very overweight. Like 20 pounds overweight, which as a kid felt like a ton, right? And there was a point where, like, I didn't have any evidence to point to that I was a healthy person. I was kind of your classic, like, playing video games, kind of hated exercise, went through a phase, and I put on some weight. And the difference was, like, in that moment, I didn't view myself as healthy. I didn't have any evidence to point to that, like, I'm someone who values health, who values wellness, who values being able to be fit and feel good. And it wasn't until I began to build small wins, began to do small habits, like ride my bike every day and get out and explore the back hill. There are these things that began to change, and these small wins, these little micro things began to give me evidence that, hey, I'm someone who actually values health. Even though I didn't have the outcome I wanted, which was be leaner, lose weight, I began to believe that, like, hey, I'm someone who is healthy. I'm someone who is an athlete. I began to play tennis. And even though I didn't have like the Instagram athlete body of today, when I started playing tennis, I saw myself as an athlete because I'd taken little steps. I'd gotten a tennis racket and I'd gone to a couple Parks and Rec tennis days. And like now I was an athlete. And those small wins of showing up, doing a day, of eating vegetables, of getting out and doing a couple push-ups, these small wins changed my identity. And then I began to take actions from that new identity. These were evidence pointing to the fact that I was now somebody who was an athlete. I was now somebody who was leaner. I was now somebody who was healthy. Even though in that moment, I still hadn't obtained the outcome I wanted, which was lose 20 pounds. The identity was what mattered because I had evidence to point to believe that I was that different person. I was the healthy person. I was the leaner person. And once you believe that, once you have evidence to look to, your brain can believe it. It reinforces the identity that you want, the person that you want to become, the outcome, the result that you want in the future. And you begin to act in alignment with that identity. But that evidence is crucial because research shows the fake it till you make it approach, where you just pretend like you're a healthy person, but you haven't done anything to prove to yourself you are, that actually doesn't work. That actually, like, your brain will not latch onto it. You need evidence to convince yourself that you have this identity. And the best way to get that evidence is through small wins. Things as simple as drinking a glass of water when you wake up in the morning. That is proof that you are the type of person who values your health. You are the type of person who wants to be the best you can be every day. And once you have that evidence to look to and go like, that's the type of person I am, that's who I'm becoming, that's very, very powerful. And so small wins build evidence, which shifts your identity and allows you to begin to live from the identity that you want to embody. Okay, so those are two reasons why the small wins approach is so powerful. Reason one is it actually builds neurological momentum. Reason two is it provides evidence for us, evidence that we have a new identity, evidence we can look to say that we are the type of person who is blank. Insert whatever it is that you desire. And third and finally is that small wins reinforce the truth that actions are what drive success. Actions are success, not outcomes, not the result. Now, this is a mindset one. And here's probably the belief, or here's the point that I believe the strongest, is that we often have the idea of success completely backwards. We view often, and I am putting myself right there in this boat too, that the outcome or the result is success, right? We see someone with a Lamborghini. We're like, whoa, they're successful because they have this result. They have this outcome. Or we see someone with, like 8-pack. If we want to be shredded, that's our goal. You're like, wow, they're successful, right? We see someone with a massive mansion or, a 10-figure net worth, and we're like, whoa, they're successful because they have this result, this outcome, right? But here's the truth. That outcome, you and I can't wake up and be 10 figures richer. We can't wake up and just decide in the moment, I'm going to have a Lamborghini in the driveway, and there's one there. We can't wake up and decide right now, I'm going to have an 8-pack. Like, we can't do that, right? We can't control directly. We can't choose the result or outcome. The results or outcomes that we typically view as successful flow from what? The actions we take, right? It's the actual process. It's the system. And so we often look at those outcomes and results as success, even though they aren't what actually creates success. I hope you see where I'm going with this. The millionaire, is he successful? Is the success the $1 million? Is it truly the $1 million? Or is success actually the actions he took that generated money? Is it having the money? Or is it generating the money? What's the true source of success? I argue it's the actions, because the $1 million will never come. They'll never be there. The outcome and the result will never be there unless the right actions are taken, unless he does the actions every day that brings in money, that provides value to people, and in exchange, they pay him money for the value he's creating. Those actions, I argue, actions are actually what are success, not outcomes, but actions, because they're the things that actually create the results that we often think of as success. So this is a bit of a mind bender, but here's the thing. Taking actions in the now, right now, in our today, those are what drives the future results that we want. And in fact, the past actions that we took yesterday, a week ago, 2 years ago, are what are creating the success or the lifestyle we have right now. Okay? So our past actions are creating our current amount of success in this moment, right? And we're using success as like the old term of like the outcome, right? Our past actions are creating the outcome we currently are living in, and our current actions are going to create a future outcome which will become our current outcome. Okay? And so what success actually truly is for any of us, whether it's health, whether it's wellness, whether it's wealth, whatever it is, success truly is about what actions are you going to take right now in this moment, because those are what are going to create a future result that will become your present reality. Okay? And so my reframe for you with this is to remember you are successful every single time you take an action that is going to move you closer to the result you want in life or the type of person you want to become in life. Success is not actually attaining that result, whether it's the 20 pounds you want to lose, whether it's seeing a six-pack on you, whether it's building a business that, a 7-figure a year business, whatever it is. Success is not when you actually attain that. That's just a result. Success is when you take actions in the moment. And so as long as you're taking actions right now, doing the things you can do in the present, today, right now, you are a successful person. You are truly successful. Even if the result hasn't come yet, even if you don't have the result or the outcome you want right now, you are successful in this moment. You don't have to wait till the result shows up because it's going to come if you keep taking the actions. And so you can now look in the mirror by doing small wins each day, by taking the actions that will actually create the result you want. You can wake up, look in the mirror, and say, I'm a success. I am a successful person because I am doing the actions that I need to do, that I can do right now, today. I am controlling what I can control, which are the actions, and I am knowing that eventually I'll be able to enjoy the result or the outcome that I want. Okay? So small wins are all about taking action. And taking action actually is what is success, because action is what drives the results or outcomes that we typically view as success. Okay? So that's a little bit philosophical, but it makes all the difference in the world, I believe, because when confidence, success, these are not things to be obtained. They're not results to get, but they are actions to be. They're a way of living. It's an alignment with our values, with the things we want. It's action, like confidence it comes from, I believe, living in alignment, daily taking the actions that you know will get you where you want to go, because that's success. And as long as you're taking those actions, you can be confident and you can honestly know you are a successful individual because you are taking actions, and actions create results. Okay? So, I love talking about this stuff. I just gave you 3 reasons why this small wins, simple behavior, simple habits approach is so powerful. We're talking, it drives neurological momentum, which is at the heart of any type of behavior change, any type of motivation to do something, motivation to take actions. It creates evidence that builds an identity of the type of person we wish to be, we want to be. And identity-based change is the most powerful because you naturally live in alignment with who you believe you are. And then finally, these small wins are success because they are the actions that you must take that will eventually, over time, with frequency, right, with the lifestyle approach, will bring the results and the outcomes that you want and oftentimes even exceed them, right? And so those are 3 reasons why the small wins approach is the most powerful approach. So now let's quickly talk about how to do this. So how do you practically use this framework in your day-to-day? How do you begin to build these small wins? You now know why they're so powerful. Now let's talk about how to practically do that. And there are 5 things here, and that may sound a little overwhelming, but I think as we get into this list, you'll see how simple these are. Okay, the first one is a mindset thing. Everything begins in the mind. So make this shift, and that is this: slow down to speed up. Slow down to speed up. Earlier, we talked in the show about the tendency for us to look for the fastest way to get a result. What is the craziest diet, the craziest fasting schedule? How can I cut out carbs and fat and just eat protein, just drink water, fast every day, right, to get the result? And it's just like this frantic, how fast can I do this mindset? Because when you want change, you want it now. We all do. But remember this: slow down to speed up. The slower you go, the faster you'll actually get the results, because that fast, frantic, looking for the shortcut, on again, off again, on again, off again, you never go anywhere. you stay stuck. Because as we talked about earlier, it's all about taking the consistent actions, those little inputs that actually move the needle, that actually move you closer to your goal. So be willing to slow down, be willing to take the time, one at a time, to build a lifestyle that promotes the results you want. And then you'll get there much, much faster. I guarantee this. Than if you keep trying to look for the next thing, the next perfect diet, or keep looking for the fastest way, the next dietary tweak you can make, right? Slow down to speed up. Accept it'll take some time. Accept it'll be a little bit longer than you wanted, but in the end, you're going to get better results that will actually last. Okay? So embrace that mindset of slow down to speed up. Commit to long-term success and stop looking for the shortcuts. Number 2, here's where we get into the practical sense. Once you've made that mindset shift, you're committing to long-term life of high performance, health, vitality, etc. You know it's going to take some time, but you know the payoff's going to be worth it. It's going to last the rest of your life. Here we go. Number 2, and this is the first step of the actual practical step-by-step. And this is choose behaviors that actually create the results you want. Okay? So what actually works is what I'm getting at here. There's a lot of BS stuff out there in the diet space, health and wellness space. There's a lot of sexy, flashy things. We're talking ice baths. We're talking saunas. We're talking fasting. We're talking tracking everything in a food app, right? A lot of these things have a benefit. Some of them don't, though. Some of them really don't, like fat burners, for example. The evidence is very, very shaky and slim on things like fat burners, right? So identify what actually works. Now, if you aren't sure, at the end of this episode, I'm going to invite you to join a program that we have practice maps. We've created these habits, these behaviors that are based in science that actually have principle-based stuff, things that are timeless, things that we know work and have worked since the beginning of time that will actually drive results. So if you're wondering if like, hey, is this, insert whatever behavior you want, is fasting, does that give me results? Join our program or shoot me a DM on Instagram and we can talk about like, does this thing you want to do actually work? Does taking this pill actually work? Will this type of exercise work? If you don't know, shoot us a DM and we'll help you figure out, we'll give you some behaviors that actually are proven to drive the results that you want, whether that's fat loss, whether it's fitness, whether it's sleeping better, etc. Right? So choose a behavior that actually works. Don't fall for the gimmicks. Do your research, do your due diligence there. And then here's the next big one. This is one of the biggest, the number 3, and this is this. Choose something you actually want to do. It's crazy. You can have your cake and eat it too, to use that expression, is you can both get the results you want while doing things you enjoy. Oftentimes there's this mindset that like, it's gotta suck in order for it to work, right? Like I can't ever eat carbs again if I want to lose 20 pounds. That's not true. You can lose 20 pounds while enjoying carbs. You don't have to, it's not this either or thing. So choose behaviors that you actually want to do. Like you're actually like, yeah, it actually sounds fun. Like I'd enjoy that. For me, walking is one of my favorite forms of exercise right now. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to walk because it sounds fun. I actually enjoy it. And walking like has a gazillion health benefits. We did a podcast on this a couple of days ago. We have a free resource to help you actually start using these principles, begin a walking habit, because I believe so strongly in it. But like I enjoy it. And so I do it. And it helps me get the result that I want, right? So like you don't have to like do stuff that sucks and you hate. Find stuff you actually want to do that gives you the results. Number 4, and this is keep it simple. Always optimize for simplicity. And the thing here is, can you do this behavior most days? Here's an example. Most days I can walk for 20 minutes a day. I can usually find the time, make the time to walk 20 minutes a day. That's something I can do most days. What I can't do most days is run 20 miles. All right, so do you see the difference? That's an extreme example, but I am going to always optimize for my behaviors to be simple things that I can do most days, because this is about frequency. This is about consistency. This isn't about a unicorn thing where like once a month I'll run 20 miles, but then sit on the couch. Absolutely not. I'm going to do something simple that even if my schedule gets crazy, even if I barely slept that night and I feel crappy, even if, insert problem here, I'm pretty confident I can do this most days. So make whatever you choose, make it very, very simple. And I have a test that if you join the program, we have this little framework that allows you to make sure it is a behavior that you're sure you can do most days. And it's really, really nifty, totally awesome. And so we've talked about, let's recap before number 5. We've talked about slow down to speed up, commit to the long term. Number 2 is choose behaviors that actually work, get the results you want. Find things you want to do. Find something that is very simple. You're most likely to do it most days. And then finally, do things one at a time. I highly encourage that you don't, it's typical that we want to start multiple things at once, right? Like when you want to create the change, you're like, okay, I'm going to lift 5 times a week. I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to throw out all the junk food. I'm going to start cooking home cooked meals every day. I'm going to go to bed at 9 p.m. I'm going to, right? And we have this massive laundry list of things that we're going to start doing. And that's great. But again, the more complexity, the more items you add, the more likely you are to begin to miss things, to quote unquote fail, to take action. And that's discouraging. And remember, feeling good, building wins is at the heart of this foundation. So we want to optimize for actually building wins, being successful, taking the action. And you are exponentially more likely to successfully take an action if you focus on one thing at a time versus 10 things at a time. Okay, so I highly recommend you just pick one action at a time. And remember, this is where the slow down to speed up comes into play. Because if you take the time to build healthy habits one at a time, once you build the habit, once it becomes a part of your lifestyle, it's there. It's not going anywhere. And then you can build the next one. And once it's a part of your lifestyle, once it's just something you do and you don't even have to think about it anymore, then you can add the next piece. And as you begin to build these small wins, these small health promoting behaviors into your day-to-day lifestyle, they all begin to build momentum to drive health results almost automatically. It's like you've automated them. And you'll get, as those compound, as those wins build up every day, because you've taken the time to build these small wins in your day, you're stacking these small wins. All of a sudden, you'll begin to get these incredible results. And it feels so easy because this is now just who you are. This is just what you do. This is your lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that drives and maintains the results you want. Okay? So that's how you do it. Slow down to speed up. Embrace the mindset that it's going to take time. Choose behaviors that actually work. If you don't know what they are, reach out to us. We'll help you find behaviors that actually work and that aren't BS, that aren't flashy, that aren't snake oil being sold by people just to make money. Choose things you actually want to do, you actually enjoy doing, because you want this lifestyle to be one that you generally enjoy, right? Choose things that are mostly simple, things you can do most days. Make it so easy to get the win. And then finally, build them one simple step at a time. Now, if you are serious, if you're someone who's listening to this podcast and you're like, man, I am so ready to ditch the yo-yo diets, to move away from the fad diets that I just can't ever stick to. I'm frustrated. I want this result. I want to lose some weight. I want to feel better. I want to increase my personal performance. And I'm just struggling. Like I just can't ever seem to build momentum. I can't ever seem to stick to habits. I can't ever seem to like make it a lifestyle. Man, I get it. That's so frustrating. And we're right now in the beta, I'm creating a program just for you that'll allow you, based on the small wins philosophy, to begin to build habits into your day that you enjoy, that actually work, that are simple, to begin to help you create this lifestyle built on stacking small wins. So you can lose fat, you can regain energy, and you can perform at your peak each and every day. Now, if that sounds like something you're interested in, we are starting a wait list for this program. And so there's going to be a link in the show notes. You can go drop your name and email address, and you'll be the first notified when we open the doors. Now, as of this podcast recording, this is a beta. And so this is going to be the first time we've run this program. We're probably going to limit the number of registrants because we want to keep it small enough numbers and give extra support, extra like one-on-one support, just to make sure that we can work out any problems, that if there's any type of slack we can pick up. Like, we want you to win in this program. We want this beta to be the best possible, most valuable program you've ever done. So we'll probably keep the numbers smaller because we want it to be a little bit more intimate. We want to be able to work with each and every one of you at a very high level to make sure that you are successful. And so the numbers will be limited. We'll only be letting in so many people. And we are going to have some awesome bonuses for our founding members. Okay, we're calling this the Small Wins Academy. The waitlist, the link will be in the show notes. If you are at all interested, if this sounds like anything that you might want to do and you're interested in, drop your name on the waitlist and you will be the first notified when we are opening the doors. We'll be sending out more information as we're ready to begin enrollment into that program. And if you're on the waitlist, you'll be the first ones to get it. So thanks for tuning into this episode. This episode really was and is the one that has been on my heart and mind for years now. You'll probably hear me talk about this more because this small wins approach, this slow down to speed up, really is at the heart of everything I'm doing in life right now. It's at the heart of my health and wellness. It's the heart of my fitness. It's at the heart of my business, the approach I'm taking to building wealth toward pursuing financial independence. And when I look around at some of the most accomplished people in the world, people who do have the results and outcomes that I want, I see that the source of their success really is almost every time people who slowed down, they focused on what they could do now, they focused on simple actions done day in and day out, done frequently, that actually created the results, these incredible, massive, impactful results in life, business, health, and wellness. And that's just what I see to be truly the principle of building health, wellness, and fitness, is taking this small wins approach. I believe this. I hope this episode was valuable to you. Remember, the link to join the waitlist will be in the show notes. Links to the books mentioned, Atomic Habits and Tiny Wins, will be in the show notes. And lastly, guys, if you found this valuable, if the ultimate thing for me, the thing that would make me most happy, the thing that would make Joseph most happy, is if you just share this episode with somebody that you know would benefit, somebody that you know is trying to build momentum in their life, who wants to make a healthy change, who wants to actually begin to enjoy a life that isn't limited by poor health, poor wellness, poor fitness. We here at Onward Nutrition, our mission is to help you attain health freedom, to help our listeners find health freedom. And just like financial freedom, right? Health freedom is a level of health, wellness, and fitness that allows you to live fully alive without limits of poor health, poor fitness, etc. So you can actually get out there, do whatever you want to do, go wherever you want to go. You have the physical capacity, the physical health, the mental capacity, mental health, performance, be able to live the lifestyle you truly want without limit. So that you can get out there and fully pursue your purpose, maximize your impact, and live a deeply fulfilling, meaningful life. Thanks for tuning in, guys, for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next week on the Optimized for Impact podcast.